ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Thursday, January 18th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We are here today for the full evening. We got Marshall basketball coming up later tonight. The Herd taking on the Monarchs, Old Dominion. We've got that game for you starting at 6 here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. But before that, we got plenty of time for you. Our text line, as always, is 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. We'll get into this Marshall-Old Dominion matchup thoroughly tonight. We also go on the air at 6 o'clock with our pregame coverage. That is West Virginia and Appalachian Laborers District Council College basketball today. So we got a full night, and of course, the game itself. Looking forward to it tonight between the Herd and the Monarchs. I know Old Dominion is 0-5 in league play, and they're 4-13 overall, but that doesn't mean anything in this series. It's a series that's gone back and forth. 28th all-time meeting between Old Dominion and Marshall. Old Dominion has a 14-13 advantage in the series, so it goes back and forth. And, of course, the women are in action tonight as well at the Cam Henderson Center. So there's a lot of basketball going on tonight on the men's side and the women's side. And, of course, we got football to get into as well. We'll do that with you as well. As I mentioned, the text line, all yours, all open tonight. Who do you think's going to win this one tonight between the Herd and the Monarchs? You can text that in now. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Couple of notes from Marshall to talk about today before we get really into the basketball. First up, always like it when awards are won and other things are given to the Herd for outstanding performances. Marshall University, Audrey West, swimmer for the Thundering Herd, has been named the Sun Belt Conference Swimmer of the Week. This is her first weekly award, and she had an outstanding meet. It was against Buffalo and Duquesne. That was in Buffalo. So she anchored the final leg of the 200 medley relay. It was a first-place finish with a time of 1:45. She had also got herself a first place in the 100 breaststroke and a second place in the 100 individual medley. Thundering Herd looking pretty good right now in the swimming pool. Marshall has been historically, and I can go back to the days in the Southern Conference probably. That's where my mind goes to. Marshall was always competitive in the sports when it came to swimming and diving, so it's good to see that's continuing. And also on the women's soccer side, Ross Holland has been appointed as an associate head coach for the program. He's formerly an assistant coach for the WVU men's program, and so he joins Marshall from WVU. You gotta love that one. That's a good hire because West Virginia had probably its best run in a long time, making it to the College Cup, and now Ross is coming to be a part of the women's program. What's that say to you about Marshall and its focus on the soccer program? What's that tell you right now? You go and get a successful assistant coach from, in soccer you can say it, your rival. You can say rival in soccer. Other sports, certain members of my audience might disagree with me, but in soccer, it's definitely a rivalry. And so you go and poach a rival coach to come coach your women's soccer program or be an assistant coach. He also, there's a connection to everything. He also was on that national championship team at the University of Charleston in 2017. So again, there's a connection, always a connection here. So it's going to be fun these next few years. It's going to be fun for a long time to see the back and forth in-state between Marshall and West Virginia in soccer, and the Sun Belt, of course, being in the same league. That adds to it. And West Virginia had a really outstanding run to the College Cup. Hopefully Marshall can find its way back to the College Cup, both on the men's side and the women's side. So when I saw that today, I was like, okay, Rafa's doing some work. He's putting together an interesting little staff there. And Marshall's serious about having success on the women's side. And, of course, that's just how this athletic department works right now. And I'm not throwing shade on any previous athletic department. I'm not. But this is how this athletic department works. Success in those other sports as important as football and basketball. that stuff matters to this athletic department. You see it with the best way to call it is the enhancement of facilities, the restoration of facilities, the creation of facilities, remodeling, all that. I mean, there's a special playing surface now for women's volleyball. Marshall didn't have to do that if it was not that interested, but it was interested. So that's interesting to me to see what happens here next. I mean, Marshall has made a strong investment in a lot of these sports. I think a lot of it comes down to where Marshall stands overall as an athletic department in the Sun Belt. The university really wanting to see success, all the programs. It isn't one of those where, okay, are you graduating your players? Yes. Okay, you're staying out of trouble? Yes. Okay. Are you competitive? Yes. You're not winning championship necessarily, but you're okay. You're competitive. You're not doing anything really bad. Okay, it's good. We're fine. We're good. Hey, football. Hey, basketball. Look at the investments alone in women's basketball. Look at the investments alone in softball. You're getting some facility upgrades there along with baseball. I mean, that's going to be what this athletic department does. It's going to focus heavily on all of these other sports as well. And I know for some of you, if it's not football or it's not basketball, it's taking away from football or basketball. And for others, I hope you're on board with it. So where are you at on that? Text line's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number to be a part of today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. As I mentioned, we got a basketball game tonight. Thundering Herd in action, taking on Old Dominion. It's one of the longer standing rivalries between Marshall and any school that's currently in the Sun Belt. Probably one of the better matchups, rivalries. Old Dominion having a rough go of it. This is a program that when I think about basketball success, I'm thinking about Old Dominion in the league. But right now they're 4-13, they're 0-5, and of course, right now their interim head coach, Kerryon Donahue, is taking over for. Here's the situation if you're not up to date on it. Now, Jeff Jones, the head coach at Old Dominion. He's incapacitated right now because he's suffering from a heart attack. So he's taking a leave of absence the remainder of the season due to his health reasons. Suffered a heart attack during Old Dominion's go of it there in the Diamond Head Classic in Honolulu, and he's got to undergo prostate cancer treatment. This is like the fourth time for him. So, a lot of prayers for him, I hope, are going his way right now from Herd fans because that's a rough go of it. He had surgery in 2015, and so he's been at home ever since the heart problem. So now Old Dominion, their interim coach, Kerryon Donahue, he's a former University of Virginia basketball manager, so he's taken over coaching responsibilities. So this isn't the same Old Dominion that we're used to. I'm not used to seeing that at all. So hopefully, and I mean this sincerely, I hope Jeff Jones is back sooner than later and Old Dominion is a threat and a terror in the league once again in basketball. Of course, Old Dominion, there's that connection to Marshall. Do you know what the connection is between Old Dominion and Marshall? I'm probably, for some of the older listeners out there, you probably know. You know. For younger listeners, do you know? What's the connection between Old Dominion and Marshall? We'll talk a little bit about that. Let's do that when we continue, and we'll get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Working Man Store in Huntington. Check out the biggest inventory of scrubs in West Virginia, featuring brands such as Healing Hands, Dickies, Cherokee, and Med Couture at the best price. Working Man Store has one of the largest selections of big and tall shirts, jackets, and jeans in the area. Working Man Store is the king of blue jeans with Levi's, Dickies, Carhartt, Lee, and Wranglers in sizes up to 72. And Working Man Store has the best selection of men's work boots and casual shoes anywhere at the best price. Working Man Store, open every day at 140 5th Avenue, Huntington.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you need. From the NFL, NBA, NCAA basketball, to college football bowl games and the national championship. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, Place, your home away from home.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Glockner's Too Easy initiative has returned for 2024. We're making it too easy to get more for your trade with our biggest cash offers. We pay more. Too easy to save time because Glockner has the fastest, most transparent 5-star shopping experience around. Too easy to find the vehicle perfect for you as Glockner has the area's biggest pre-owned inventory. That's why it's too easy to buy a car at Glockner.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
The more vulnerable among us can fall victim to abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. When navigating your way out, it doesn't have to feel like a maze. Assistance is available from Adult Protective Services. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL HHS and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Cut down on heating bills with a central boiler outdoor wood furnace. Heat multiple buildings, pools, and hot tubs, all with one furnace. And get unlimited hot water. Come to Altizer Farm Supply and see the central boiler outdoor wood furnaces at 585 Centerpoint Road in Thurman, Ohio, 740-245-5193.
Here's another Kinder Communications Community Chatter. A celebration of artistic expression spanning 2 decades is coming up. Ohio University Southern's Art Gallery hosting the opening of Penciltown Select Drawings from the past 20 years. That'll be taking place Thursday, January 18th, 5 to 6:30 p.m. at Ohio University's Southern Campus.
This Kinder Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Black Sheep Harley-Davidson, 4th Avenue and 4th Street, downtown Huntington, online at blacksheephd.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The nicotine in e-cigarettes is addictive and can harm brain development. That's why I worry about teens who try e-cigarettes. Many young people use pod-based e-cigarettes like Juul, which have high levels of nicotine. And because teens' brains are still developing, they can quickly become addicted. The tobacco industry uses fruit and candy flavors to attract young people, often turning them into lifelong users. For more, visit healthychildren.org.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Our text line this hour, it's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for joining us today here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. If you just joined us, we're getting set for Marshall and Old Dominion. The Herd, 9-9, 4-1 in league play, taking on an Old Dominion team that is 4-13 overall, 0-5. And I asked you before we went to the break, do you know the connection between Marshall and Old Dominion? This is the big one. The big connection here. A texter wrote in and said, yeah, I know what it is. It's Coach Sonny Allen. You're exactly right. Sonny Allen. Who's Sonny Allen? Well, if you're not a basketball fan, he's a big part of Marshall basketball. If you're a younger fan, have you looked up? Do people still look up? Do you look up to the rafters and you see the Henderson Center Hall of Famers, whatever we're calling them, all the portraits that are up there? You see Cam's portrait and, you see all of the likenesses. Sonny Allen played at Marshall as a walk-on, became a starter, played with guys like Hal Greer, Leo Bird, and he was part, of course, of what everybody loves about Marshall basketball, fast break basketball. That team in 1957-58, that season, averaged 88.1 points a contest. And he stayed on as an assistant coach at Marshall, including playing a role in recruiting our guy, our man, Dan D'Antoni. So he later becomes the head coach at Old Dominion. It was Old Dominion College. And he worked on the fast break. That was their style. The fast break was their system. He was also someone who was really important when it came to recruiting black athletes. Arthur Button Speaks, one of the first black athletes Allen recruited to Old Dominion. And so he was important for opening up those opportunities. Now, Old Dominion, running the fast break, they had 2 appearances in the Division II Final Four, and they won the 1974-75 national title. Herd fans probably remember this. At least older Herd fans remember this. Sonny Allen passed away September 11th, 2020. He was also inducted into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame on April 30th. I believe it was last year, I believe, or the year before. I got to double-check that. Let me double-check my numbers on that, on my notes. But he, I think he's going to be inducted into the Virginia Hall of Fame. It's coming up. But he definitely left a mark at Old Dominion and other places, and, of course, at Marshall as well. And so Sonny Allen, pretty big deal for Marshall basketball, pretty big deal for Old Dominion. So there's the connection between the two. And I'm sure Dan will talk a little bit more about that coming up tonight with Steve Cotton, or at least, I anticipate him talking a little bit more about it if he hasn't talked about it a lot already. But, if you're kind of new to Marshall basketball, that's a name you should know, Sonny Allen, and what he's meant to Marshall basketball and, of course, Old Dominion as well. And, of course, he's not the only coach that we're fond of from Old Dominion. We're also fond of Jeff Jones. And, again, we hope that he is recovering well. Leaving for the remainder of the season due to health reasons. So we hope that he's recovering, recuperating, getting his strength, and love to see him on the sidelines real soon. Is Old Dominion one of those rivalries that you look forward to because of the connections? I mean, is it a positive rivalry? Is it one of those that you want to get after that team? Where would you rank that? Is this a friendly rivalry? So I've never thought of it in those terms. Like, okay, East Carolina. Yeah, you always want to beat East Carolina, but at the end of the day, you love those guys. You love their fans. You love that program. Means a lot to Marshall fans, especially in football, because, the connection the two programs have, the bond, that's always bigger. The wins and losses are very important, but at the end of the day, those two programs have a bond, a connection that will never be broken because of a moment in time. So, great rivalry, friendly rivalry. Can you have a friendly rivalry, a friendly competition? Is Old Dominion that rival, or you really want to get after them? So I don't hold them in the same vein as, say, like Appalachian. That's tough because I like Appalachian State, but I also want to see the Herd always beat them. Same with Georgia Southern. I like Georgia Southern as well, but I always want to see the Herd beat them. But it's not venomous, at least not for me. For you, it might be. That's why I'm asking. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Is this one of those matchups, those rivalries that you looked? Is it a rivalry? Is it cordial? Can you have a rivalry with a program that you have some connections to and it's cordial? Is it cordial? We'll find out tonight what it looks like on the court, that's for sure. Some other news today. First up, Marshall safety Kerryon Martin has entered the portal. That's a huge loss, I think, for the Thundering Herd. Also, a former Marshall player, George Barlow, has been hired as the new secondary coach at Louisiana. So, a former son of Marshall. Can you be a former son of Marshall? Is that the proper way? Always a son, former Marshall player. We'll just go with that. And there was some speculation. I didn't get into it a couple of days ago when it was coming out because I didn't really pay much heed, pay much mind to it. I didn't think it was much, and thankfully I'm proven right, so I can talk about it now. South Alabama names Major Applewhite as the head football coach. There was some speculation that Coach Huff, Charles Huff, was a candidate for that job, but of course his name's going to come up now and then for coaching searches. If he has a really outstanding season at Marshall coming up, it's going to come back up a lot more. But you're going to see his name come up now and then for coaching vacancies. He's still got a year left on his contract at Marshall University, and Marshall and Coach Huff will be continuing their partnership for at least the season. I don't know how far that'll go afterwards. I don't want to say, hey, is Coach on the hot seat? But There's definitely some expectations as far as Marshall football is concerned, but yeah, I'm puzzled why his name came up for South Alabama. I think South Alabama is a good job, but I also feel like that might have been either that was a lateral move or location. That's a location move. So when I saw that his name came up, I'm like, is that really a thing? Is that just some publication putting it out there? I mean, I could come out with some names tomorrow and say, hey, here are some candidates for the Marshall job. And we will do that if a job opens up. We will. But I never thought that was serious. So that one's been put to rest. Major Applewhite, head football coach, South Alabama. That's an interesting one there. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got more coming up. It's The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. In Milton, Eric Dodson, 304-390-4515. And in Wayne, Vicki Tabor, 304-272-5149.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, and baked lasagna. Giovanni's has the best sandwiches around, from the stromboli, Italian sub, calzones, and their signature Big Red. All dinners will be served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's Pizza, fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Save big money on your next painting project with help from Menards. Do you have a painting project that requires crisp, clean lines? Look no further than Frog Tape. Their premium-grade painter's tape includes paint block technology that seals edges for sharp paint lines. Get your paint project started today, quickly and cleanly with Frog Tape. A roll of 2-inch Frog Tape is on sale for just $7.49. Hurry in. Prices go through January 21st.
Save big money at Menards.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowes.com for details.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
It's 40 love here in the third set.
And there's the bell. She's coming off the bench hot, looking for a quick knockdown. But wait, she's driving to the hoop. Oh, down goes the champ.
Now that's another double fault. She'll be shooting too.
The serve is up. And here comes the left hook. She's bundled her home and auto insurance with Progressive. Swish, ace, savings, TKO.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
What's your favorite high school sports memory? A late-inning rally? A game-winning shot? A photo finish? Maybe it's a pep rally or a pregame ritual. Maybe it's the euphoria of a late-night bus ride home after a hard-fought win. Maybe it's having pizza with teammates after the game. Now, imagine if it never happened at all. School sports need your help. With budgets getting tighter, it's more than the games that are on the line. It's all the traditions, the community pride, the culture of your hometown high school. Plus, all those memories that are on the line, too. What can you do? It's simple. Buy a ticket when you can. Go to a game. Take the whole family. Let's do everything we can to keep those cherished school sports memories alive.
This message presented by the West Virginia Secondary School Activities Commission and the West Virginia Athletic Directors Association.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Thursday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. You can be a part of the program by texting at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. The Herd getting set to take on the Monarchs tonight. Marshall, led by Dan D'Antoni, looking for that fifth win in Sunbelt play. Herd right now right at 509-9. Old Dominion looking for a win. They would like to get a win pretty bad right now. They're 4-13. They're 0-5 in league play right now. Marshall, still led by Obina and Achille Killen with 17 points. Nate Martin, he's close to double digits on the rebound side of things. He is averaging 9.4. Thundering Herd in their 28th all-time meeting with Old Dominion. Old Dominion leading the series 14-13. Old Dominion won the last meeting 71-67. They rallied from a 9-point second-half deficit to get the victory. Marshall is averaging 76.6 points a game. They are giving up 76.5. They're shooting .422 from the floor, .317 from the three-point line, and at the foul line, they are at .717. And the good news is the Herd's getting the boards. They're getting more than their opponents. Right now, they're out-rebounding their opponents basically 40-37 with some rounding errors there. ODU, on the other hand, they're averaging 71 points a contest, but they're giving up almost 78 a game. They're shooting .425 from the floor. They're averaging .308 from the three-point line, and they're not as good from the free throw line. They're at .658. And they're getting out-rebounded 39-34. And we're getting rounding up, basically 39-35. They're getting out-rebounded. Marshall would like to have that loss back, like to have the win against South Alabama. Old Dominion's on a 6-game losing streak, including 5 conference losses. That is not good for Old Dominion. I'm not used to that. I'm not used to seeing an Old Dominion team look this way. And you look at their schedule, and what stands out looking at their schedule? Now, first of all, they lose at Ball State and they lose at Arkansas, and those were competitive games. And they lose almost by 20. It was 20. My bad. They lose by 20 to Princeton. They win in overtime against Drexel. They get a win against Radford, and then other than a Temple win on December 12th, they lost everything. And, of course, they have issues right now at coach because, again, Jeff Jones is incapacitated right now. He's recuperating. He's recovering. He's trying to get better. And so they've had a rough go of it. And then they get into conference play, and they've been on the road. Look at their schedule. It's crazy. Their schedule is this. South Alabama, and that was on December 30th. And then 4 straight on the road. January 4th at Troy, January 6th at Arkansas State, January 11th at Georgia State, and January 13th at Coastal Carolina. Now, look at how they lost those games. South Alabama, they lost that game 61-59. Troy, which is pretty good right now, they lost that one 86-73. Okay, that seems legit. Arkansas State clobbered them 90-75. Georgia State beat them 77-70, and Coastal Carolina beat them 79-75. Plus, this is one of the venues that you're going to see a crowd. When they were last at home, they had 5,479 fans. They have good crowds at Old Dominion. They go on the road, crowds drop off, energy level drops off, obviously, but they just haven't been able to find a way to win. 4 wins. West Virginia, I think that was Virginia Wesleyan, my mistake. They beat Wesleyan, they beat Radford, they beat Drexel in overtime, and they beat Temple. And, of course, they're looking for that win tonight. And if there was an opponent that they could probably score a win against, and I'm not saying that as disrespectful to Dan's squad, but anything can happen in this matchup. It's been that competitive. So we'll see. That comes up tonight here, and we've got it for you 6 o'clock right here on ESPN 94.1 at AM 930, whereas the Herd started out really hot, and then they dropped that game 91-85 against South Alabama. That was a good crowd, by the way. Official attendance was 5,711, and that was the first Saturday game where the time was moved to 4 o'clock. Now, depending on what happens here on the road trip, we're going to see crowds like that for the next few games, close. Marshall drops the next 2. They drop them on the road. Is that going to impact the crowd? I don't know. But this is one of those, you got to get this one. You got to get this one before you take on James Madison, which I think is beatable. Absolutely think James Madison's beatable. Now, can Marshall beat him? We'll find out. I know, that's really not committing. But I think they're beatable. I think Old Dominion definitely, I don't want to think that Old Dominion's an easy. This isn't an automatic by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want to go into this game tonight thinking this is automatic. I don't want to have that mindset that this is an automatic. As far as I'm concerned, this is Marshall Old Dominion, and it goes back and forth all the time. Nothing tells me that this is an easy game, even though the record says otherwise, and the way they've lost says otherwise. And honestly, they get an okay lineup. They're getting good production from their lineup. They just haven't found a way to win. Not yet. I mean, the rebound margin's not that bad, but it's killing them. They're negative, and this is, I'm looking at overall now. Yeah, in conference it's a little different, but overall they're getting outboarded by over 4. In conference, it's worse in conference, to be honest with you. In conference, the rebound margin's over 7. You want to look at those numbers just alone? In conference, they're getting outscored 78-70. It's a -8 plus loss margin. In conference, they're shooting .398. They're averaging 7 3-pointers a game. In conference, they have attempted 122 3-pointers, and they have made 35. And they're averaging a little over 9 points from the free throw line a game. But the rebound margin, they're getting out-rebounded by over 7. And they're turning it over. Turnovers per game, that's a big one here. In conference only, it's almost 10. They're committing 10 turnovers a game. They are averaging almost 10 steals a game. That's one thing that they are doing well against their opponents in conference. They are averaging almost double digits in steals a game. So I don't know what to make of this team. There's some things that you circle and go, okay, those are obviously issues here. And you look at it, okay, there's some things that they're doing well. And again, defensively, we'll see. What can the Herd do? I haven't even looked at Marshall's. I've looked at their overall, but I haven't even looked at their conference stats. And let's do that now. And, of course, thankfully, it's pretty good. I mean, in league play, their scoring margin is almost 6 points. They're right now averaging in conference actually over 77 points a game, and they're giving up almost 72. They're averaging about 9 points a game from the three-point line. They're averaging 17 free throws made per game. The rebound margin is only 1.8, so 2 more boards a contest. Where they're actually, believe it or not, where they're starting to really, I think, show up a little bit more is turnovers. They're committing almost 12 turnovers a game, block shots over 4 a contest. But I think scoring margins, ultimately, that's where they're getting it done. They're making use of their possessions. They're getting more out of their possessions. Of course, the free throw line has definitely helped this team. And if you go just by one game, Cameron Crawford, leading scorer for the Thundering Herd, based on one game in conference play only, averaging 23 points. One game in conference. Take that aside, Obina Anachili Killen, his numbers go up. You look at him overall, he's averaging overall 17 a contest. You look at his numbers in conference, he's averaging 20 a game. And Cam Kerfman is averaging 15 in conference, and Kevon Voiles is averaging 10. Then you look at the numbers, Nate Martin, he's almost at 10 points a game. I'd like to see that go up a little bit in conference. That's what I'd like to see. I would like to see more of Nate Martin, just a little bit more from the scorer's seat. I mean, rebounding, right now in conference, he's averaging 9 boards a game and almost 10 points. We can get that up a little bit. We'll get back to that double-double average that we felt like he was almost hitting every single game. That's what I'm looking for out of this one tonight. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line. Be a part of it. More coming up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State. Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you need. From the NFL, NBA, NCAA basketball, to college football bowl games and the national championship. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Get the tire that will see you through the cold and then some. The long-lasting all-season Michelin Cross Climate 2 tire, because winter doesn't last forever. Between 11:15 and 12:05, get $70 via reward card or virtual prepaid card after online submission with the purchase of 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. $70 tire rebate on all tire lines, plus a $30 bonus rebate on Michelin winter tires only. See TikTok Tire, 3rd Avenue in Huntington, across from Jones C. Edwards Stadium. www.michelinman.com/auto/deals-promotions-and-rebates for complete detail. Offer expires 12/5/23. Void where prohibited.
In the tapestry of life, we encounter stories of legacy and accomplishment, but sometimes also abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Adult Protective Services understands the importance of safeguarding the well-being of our loved ones, our neighbors, and our community. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL, HHS, and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Cut down on heating bills with a central boiler outdoor wood furnace. Heat multiple buildings, pools, and hot tubs, all with one furnace. And get unlimited hot water. Come to Altizer Farm Supply and see the central boiler outdoor wood furnaces at 585 Centerpoint Road in Thurman, Ohio, 740-245-5193.
At Progressive, we love sports and saving you money, so we bundled them together.
It's 40 love here in the third set.
And there's the bell. She's coming off the bench hot, looking for a quick knockdown. But wait, she's driving to the hoop. Oh, down goes the champ.
Now that's another double fault. She'll be shooting too. The serve is up. And here comes the left hook. She's bundled her home and auto insurance with Progressive. Swish, ace, savings, TKO.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
It's our final segment, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're going to give you a chance to win tickets coming up next week So get that number in your speed dial now. We've got basketball tickets all next week to give you. We'll be giving away 4 packs to the homestand every day this week. Monday, Tuesday. We'll give you games tickets on Thursday and Friday as well. So, opportunity to win coming up next week. Keep that text line in your phone. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. The Marshall women's basketball team entering the 4th week of Sun Belt Conference play. They are 5-0. They are in sole possession of first place. They're taking on Old Dominion. That's coming up tonight. That is set for 6 o'clock at the Cam Henderson Center. So I hope that if you're on your way now, you got time. Hopefully you're parking now if you're going. Marshall has been the team right now in women's play. They're the lone unbeaten team in league play with a 5-0 mark. They are trying to stay ahead of the pack. There are 3 ties. There are 3 teams tied for second at 4-1. The Herd is first in conference and 3-pointers per game in the women's side with 11. Abby Beeman leads the Sun Belt in assists per game at 7. Aislinn Hayes, she is averaging over 4.5 3-pointers a contest, and they've taken on an Old Dominion team that's a lot better than their male counterparts. Right now, the women for Old Dominion, they're 12-3 overall. They're 4-1 in Sun Belt play, and I think this is going to be a challenge for the Herd. This is going to be a tough one, but it should be a good one tonight, and that's happening again at the Cam Henderson Center. So hopefully you're on your way now to the Henderson Center. If you're listening to the show, you're pulling up, you're parking, you got plenty of time to get yourself in the Henderson Center, get to your seat, watch Coach Kim and her squad take the court. And don't forget, Saturday's going to be fun as well. I think Saturday's going to be more of an energy game because of the Sweetheart Clinic, the game before, the time before it's not going to be Education Day, but it's going to be close. And if you ever have a chance, you should get into Education Day. You should get into one of those games. If you can take a couple hours, just go to an education game, because it's going to be one of those times where you're just thinking to yourself, I wish Henderson Center was always this loud, because those kids are going to be screaming. They should probably do Education Day every home game. For the women, yeah, why not? Do Education Day. I know you couldn't do that for the men. Could you do Education Day for the men? Probably not. But with the women, right now, I think you can get away with doing multiple Education Days. I don't know. But the Sweetheart Clinic's coming up on Saturday, and that's going to be a fun time. And then the Henderson Center is probably going to be rocking for that one. And, of course, that's against Coastal Carolina. But tonight, the opponent, Old Dominion. And we'll have the result coming up after the men's game, so don't go anywhere. If you're home tonight listening to the game, we'll have the result from the women's side. And, of course, we'll hear from Dan D'Antoni after the game. So stick around. We've got a post-game show that comes up after the game. And it is 20th Street Giovanni's college basketball wrap-up, where we wrap everything up. We'll hear from Dan D'Antoni. Hopefully we'll get a player interview or two as well. We'll get your texts and phone calls in. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So all of that's coming up, and we'll do it here after the game on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and 93.7 The Dog. And that reminds me, Saturday's going to be a dog-only game. We've got NFL playoff action coming up this weekend. Those games are going to air right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as the Thundering Herd will take on Old Dominion. That's going to be on 93.7 The Dog only. I just want to kind of make you aware of that this week, because if you tune in looking for the game, you can't find it on either 930 or 94.1. Tune in to 93.7 The Dog. So you'll have the game there. And, of course, we'll have the NFL playoffs as well. So if you want to kind of keep an ear on both of those, you can do so. We got you covered. Houston's taking on Baltimore at 4:30 on Saturday. That's going to be followed by Green Bay at San Francisco. Both those games and the Sunday games, Tampa Bay at Detroit, Kansas City at Buffalo. All those games coming up this weekend. Of course, after that, the AFC, NFC Championship game, and we'll also have the Super Bowl. All of that coming up right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So I think that's going to do it for us. We are going to get out of here a couple of minutes early because we have got basketball action coming up on our sister station as well on 93.7 The Dog, as the Thundering Herd getting set to take on Old Dominion. So that's happening coming up next. So we're going to take a sooner than anticipated break so we can get into our basketball coverage. Thanks for tuning in to today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Back with you in 2 minutes